Previously on Unscripted.
Paul Coffey is the only defenseman to score more than 40 goals. You just told me there was 3, even though actually 3 was really 2, and now you're telling me there's only 1.
So what you're saying then, there is still hope for humans.
You're listening to Unscripted with Skip Sherman and Josh Obadia.
Okay, Skip, so today we're going to reveal our favorite athlete nicknames. But before we get to that, speaking of athletes, have you been watching the baseball playoffs?
You know, people don't know this, or maybe I've mentioned it before. Before we hit record and before we start to get things rolling, I always ask you, do you know how you're going to start the episode? And then most times you tell me, yeah, I know exactly how I'm going to start. And I don't know what you're going to talk about. Like when you talked about your credit card, I have no idea, right? Yes, I have been watching the Major League Baseball playoffs, and I'm very happy you asked me about this because I wanted to speak about this very badly today.
Okay, well, I've also been watching. It's funny. I mean, my favorite team, the Montreal Expos, no longer exists. They haven't existed for 20-something years. And so I don't follow baseball as much as I used to. But I still, for some reason, do follow the playoffs, even if I don't care about any of the teams that are in the playoffs.
Yeah. The playoffs are very exciting always. They always are. I love the baseball playoffs.
They are. And so now we already know, because we're recording this on a Saturday morning, we already know one of the teams who is going to be in the World Series, the LA Dodgers. Not really a surprise. I'm a little bit annoyed, maybe a lot annoyed, because I'm tired of the Dodgers. And we're still waiting to find out who it's going to be from the American League, because Toronto and Seattle, the series is now 3-2 for Seattle. When you hear this episode, that series will be over and you will know the answer.
Right. I mean, it got a lot of the baseball playoffs are a lot more in the news here because of the Jays, and they're in it, and you know it's on our TV all the time, and the radio, and like there's just a lot of coverage of the Jays. So we're getting hit with the baseball playoffs more and more. I love the whole thing, but the reason why I wanted to talk about the baseball playoffs this morning, and I was very happy that you brought it up, is last night there was a performance by a player that is and I'm not exaggerating. As soon as I saw the box score, I said, this is the greatest playoff performance by a major league player in the history of baseball. There has never been a performance like this ever, and maybe there never will be again. And you know what I'm talking about, and it's Shohei Ohtani. I'm not following the Dodgers series because it's bogus. I turn on my phone, I look at the box score, I look at the score, and I'm like, oh my God, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, just so, you know, for the people who didn't watch the game and don't know what happened, Shohei Ohtani hit 3 home runs yesterday, and he also pitched and struck out 10 batters. So yeah, you're right, it is the best performance ever. I wouldn't even you said best performance, best playoff performance. It's probably the best performance in any game ever. Playoffs, regular season, you name it.
Yeah.
Because has there ever been a player that has hit 3 home runs and also struck out 10 batters in the same game? It hasn't happened.
Right. I mean, the only thing you could say that could compete with this in baseball is like if a pitcher throws a perfect game, or, I mean,
Reggie Jackson did hit 3 home runs in one World Series game.
Yeah, I know. And Shohei just hit 3 home runs yesterday, and he also struck out 10 and pitched 6 innings. So it's like it's anything. There's no hitting performance that could compare, because no matter what you say, I mean, he also pitched 6 scoreless innings.
Right, unless someone hit 4 home runs, but you know.
Yeah. And then I got into a conversation with my son last night about Shohei, and we were talking about like how he's the first to do this, and I told him like 5 years ago or 6 years ago, whenever it was, when Shohei kind of broke in, people were just like, oh no, he's eventually going to have to be a hitter or a pitcher. He's never going to be able to do both. And he just said, no, I'm going to do both. Right. And even last year, where he didn't pitch at all because he had arm surgery and he was only a hitter, I thought, oh, maybe he's never going to pitch again and he's just going to be a hitter now. No, they brought him back. He's a great pitcher. Like, it's unreal. And like, I just wonder, like, I don't wonder, I'm sure, like, he's not going to be the last of this. He's the first to do this, but he's broken the barrier now. And I think there's going to be others that are going to do this. Maybe not as well, but others are going to get the chance to do this. Like Major League Baseball, which with its like, all this tradition is going to be like, well, he did it. Well, maybe someone else could do it now. I don't think organizations, managers, GMs are going to be like, oh no, that can't be done, because we know it could be, right?
I think it was a couple of years ago, there was a guy on Cincinnati who was both a pitcher and a hitter, and I don't even remember his name, and I don't even know, he might be out of baseball now. So you'll have to look it up and tell me who that was.
But I mean, it doesn't mean it's going to happen tomorrow, but I mean, I think it's going to happen again. Like, it's going to happen again,
I mean, I'm surprised. I'm surprised it's taken this long, because, as you know, when you're a kid playing Little League Baseball, if you're the best player on your team, you're the best hitter on your team, and you're the best pitcher on your team. So clearly, the good athletes, when they're 10 or 15 years old or whatever, they're good at both.
Yeah, it's not just even when you're a kid. It's when you're drafted. Like, a lot of these players that are like, let's say you're a senior in high school in the United States. You play shortstop and you pitch. You know what I mean? Like that's how it is. And then only after that is there a switch, right? And then all of a sudden, you have to specialize now. But maybe you don't. Maybe you don't, right?
This isn't the same thing, but the other thing that impresses me has nothing to do with Shohei Ohtani. Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts was an all-star for all those years in Boston. Then he gets traded to Los Angeles. Then they move him to shortstop from the outfield. And I always thought that shortstop, other than pitcher and catcher, shortstop is the hardest position to play in baseball. And I thought they usually put the guys in the outfield who, maybe they're not as good defensively. You can hide a guy in left field. You can hide a guy maybe at first base if you want his bat in the lineup. But when they moved Mookie Betts to shortstop, and he doesn't just play shortstop, like he plays it really, really well. That is unreal to me. That's unbelievable to me.
Like, I watched Mookie Betts make some plays this year in the playoffs. And if you didn't know he was an outfielder before, you would never know that this guy just started really playing shortstop regularly, basically this year, Because he makes plays, and he makes difficult plays, and he makes them look easy. Like, he's tremendous. He is tremendous. What a player, that Mookie Betts. I know he didn't have a good season this year hitting wise, but like, he's what a ball player. Like, honestly, what a ball player.
Absolutely. Okay, we'll be right back after this to reveal our favorite athlete nicknames.
You're listening to Unscripted.
I'm Joseph DeBenedictis.
And I'm Ross Citrillo.
And we're doing this podcast so we don't have to go home and get a real job.
Exactly.
That's right. And we're doing it to tell you about our pursuit of the dreams we've had since being a kid, being young, trying to get into the entertainment industry. We're mid-career, sort of. We're kind of halfway broken in a way. But we both have these big dreams and big goals.
Aspirations, really.
For our careers.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. This podcast is about the journey through the industry, trying to make it, but trying not to have to give up.
So listen to our podcast on all the places you might listen to a podcast. Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We have our own YouTube channel where you can watch the video version. All the links can be found at you'llnevermakeit.ca. Here's hoping we do.
And now, back to Unscripted.
Okay, Skip, we're back.
So last episode, we talked about this random, like, Montreal Canadiens goalie category that you wanted to do. And because you mentioned the nicknames of all the players that you were in your list, because in Hockey Reference, they had the nicknames there, right? And you found that interesting. So then I texted you during the week. I was like, hey, why don't we just do like our athlete, sports nicknames? And you're like, yeah, sure. And then yesterday you texted me saying there's too many. There's too many. Can we leave it to one sport? And I told you, just pick five. Just pick five and let's see where it goes. So there is too many. Obviously there's too many because there's thousands of athletes and they all have stupid nicknames, right? So I tried to narrow it down with my own like criteria. Like, I don't know what you did, but like maybe you picked like the most outrageous ones, or maybe you picked like the ones that you just thought were funny, the ones you liked. Maybe it's players you liked and you don't care about how stupid their nickname is. You just like the player. I tried to narrow it down to players whose nicknames were were so good that the name kind of became their name. Like the nickname kind of became their name.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Like Air Jordan, King James, the Great One, Mr. Hockey. These are great nicknames and they're fitting and they sum up what those players are and you know what they are. But those names are boring. Like, right? Like honestly, they're boring. They're easy, you know? So I tried to pick like better names that you know you really identify with the player. Like obviously Magic Johnson is the first thing that come to mind because that actually is his name now.
Yeah.
I didn't put that on my list specifically because I feel like that went so far to my criteria. It's so strong because literally it is his name now. People don't even know Irvin, it was his name. It's Magic Johnson.
Correct.
It's so synonymous with him that I didn't even put it because it's literally his name, right? So that one like I kind of excluded myself, but I have a really nice list. Yeah.
I also have a nice list. And as I did mention to you yesterday in a text message, we could have just picked one sport because, by the way, I mean, baseball has the best nicknames. I mean, you could tell me whatever you want about any other sport, but baseball has the best nicknames. I don't know why, but it just does. So I could have had 5 baseball players easily on this list. I only put 3 because I wanted to like spread it out. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I actually, when you suggested this topic, I was surprised that we had not done it already. I thought we did. Obviously, we haven't, but you know, whatever. Good for us.
I actually went back and checked saying, did we do this? but I don't remember like researching this stuff. So it's clear that we didn't.
No, we
right?
didn't. We didn't. So today's the first time we're doing it.
The other thing that's really important is like, I'm always fascinated by nicknames in general because like, you know, nicknames is like a big part of like our friend group, right? Skip, people on this show have heard me call you Cub. Like most people, that is your name, kind of like that would be number 1 on this list, right? Cub, that's you,
Except
right?
that I'm not a professional athlete.
Yeah, exactly. And then you know we have other like when we hang out with our friend group, like everybody has a nickname, and it's a strong nickname. It's what people refer to them as, right? Like sometimes I say, you know, oh, Butsy's coming over. And then my kids know who that is, you know, like,
Yeah.
or right. So I always find it fascinating how like a nickname comes to be and then how it sticks. Like, and I think I have 5 strong names here so that I think we're going to have fun with this list. I don't know if we're going to have any the same. I would say we might have one the same.
I mean, I don't think we're going to have any the same. There's a possibility of one, but I don't think we're going to have any the same.
Very good. I can't wait to get this going. So it's my category, so I'll start.
Number 5.
So number 5 on my list, Oil Can Boyd.
You know what? That is a very good one that I completely forgot about. I can you tell me why that's his nickname? I hope you're going to tell me why because I don't even remember why.
Every person on my list, I have the origin of the name. I researched it, all my 5. So Oil Can Boyd was a pitcher. He pitched mostly for the Red Sox. He did pitch a little bit for the Expos as well. His real name is Dennis. He was like a pretty good pitcher. Actually, I looked at his stats, and he pitched for 10 seasons. And he's actually worse than I thought he was. Like, I thought in my mind, he was better than he actually was in real life. Because he has a career 78 and 77 record. And he had like 2 or 3 good seasons, but mostly he wasn't that good. And he's probably more famous for his name than his actual pitching. So the nickname Oil Can came from his hometown of Meridian, Mississippi, where they called beer oil. And he was known for his ability to drink a large amount of beer. A version of the story says he and his friends would drink beer from oil cans, although he himself said later it wasn't because they drank beer, they drank whiskey, what he calls rot gut whiskey, which means like really bad quality whiskey that hurts your stomach. So they said they used to drink bad whiskey out of cans, and then his name became Oil Can. This is the origin.
Okay, I had no idea. I never heard that story.
Yeah, so apparently Oil Can Boyd was a big drinker. Didn't know this, but I mean, the guy was skinny like a twig, no?
He was very skinny.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first nickname on my list is Tim Eli Wallach. So obviously former Expo. He played for the Expos from 1980 to 1992. And he's actually the team leader in several statistical categories, including hits, doubles, and RBIs. He was a 5-time All-Star. He earned 3 Gold Gloves, and he won 2 Silver Slugger awards. Now, the reason his nickname is Eli is because there's an actor named Eli Wallach, so that's why his teammates gave him the nickname Eli. The reason I like the nickname is because Eli also happened to be my dad's name.
Did your dad like Tim Wallach as a player or didn't care?
I mean, I don't know if my dad knew if he was a good player or not, but he did know that that was his nickname.
I know your brother never really liked Tim Wallach. Your brother once told me, or told you, and you told me that he used to call Tim Wallach the insurance man.
Correct. That was my brother's nickname for Wallach.
Because he would only hit home runs when we were already ahead by 4. Like if you saw the Expos won 7-2, it's because Wallach hit a 3-run homer when we were already up 4-2.
Correct. He was good at padding his stats when the stats weren't really needed.
I don't know if that's really true or if that's just your brother's observation, but it's pretty funny.
Yep.
Number 4.
All right, number 4 for me, Deion Sanders, also known as Primetime.
Also a good one. Very good. I like your list so far.
So Deion's interesting because, Deion, he's a Hall of Famer in football, 8 times Pro Bowl, won the Super Bowl twice for San Francisco and Dallas. He played 14 years in the NFL. In my mind, the best cover corner in the history of the league for sure, and also a lethal kick returner. And they tried to make him a wide receiver because he was such a great open field runner. And the interesting thing about Deion, which you've alluded to before, when we talked about sports documentaries, is he also played for the Braves, right? He played in Major League Baseball too, 2-sport athlete. He wasn't a great Major League Baseball player, but he was a good player. Obviously, he's so fast and he's such a good athlete that, he was a decent player. And he's the coach now of the University of Colorado football team, where he's modified his nickname. Now he's called Coach Prime.
I like that.
So when I researched like the origin of the name, I was 100% sure that Deion Sanders gave this name to himself. If anybody would give the name Primetime to themselves, it would be Deion Sanders. Like I was sure that I was going to look it up, and I was like, I was sure that it's like he's going into the NFL draft and he called himself Primetime, and the hype began. That's not true though. It says he earned his nickname Primetime during high school after a dominant basketball game where he scored over 30 points and performed multiple dunks. On the bus ride home, a friend told him, "You're Primetime," which Sanders agreed with. The name reflected his ability to deliver spectacular performances during crucial moments, similar to primetime television programming, and the name stuck. Like I said, I'm sure he named himself, but apparently a high school teammate playing basketball named him that.
Okay, that was a good one. I like it. I like your list so far. Next for me is William the Refrigerator Perry. So, obviously a former football player, played for the Chicago Bears, won the Super Bowl. And this guy's huge, in case you haven't seen him. He looks like a refrigerator. So he earned the nickname when he was in college. He played for Clemson. So there was one day where he and his teammate were taking laundry down in the elevator. And so they're both in the elevator, and they're both big guys, and they both have these big loads of laundry, so they can barely fit in the elevator. And so his teammate, Ray Brown, says to him, "Man, you're about as big as a refrigerator." And that's how he got his nickname. It's funny because the way the Bears used him, they actually let him score some touchdowns, because when they handed him the ball, when they had the ball at the 2-yard line or whatever, he would just literally bowl through the whole other team. He's not a fast guy, but he's so big and he's so strong that he couldn't be stopped. So he actually scored, I think, 2 touchdowns, maybe more in his career. I'm not sure.
Number 3.
So we do have one the same. And my number 3 is William the Refrigerator Perry. It's interesting because he kind of has 2 nicknames, because it's the refrigerator, but it's also the fridge.
Right.
So he's got the shortened version. Yes, he did score a few touchdowns in his career. I don't know the exact number, but he famously scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
Yes.
When the Bears played the Patriots. There's many Bears fans that are angry about that because it was a blowout. The Bears won so easily that Super Bowl. And there's many Bears fans that are pissed because they were like near the goal line. And Bears fans are mad that Walter Payton, the most iconic player in the history of their team, didn't score a touchdown in that Super Bowl, especially when they were right at the goal line. So that's like a little side story about that's not the Fridge's fault. That's the coach's fault, Ditka. But he was 6'2", 335, which, I mean, for you and me, that's huge, right? Like, this is a big man. But like, and at the time in 1985, that was massive. Right? That was literally massive. There was almost no players that were over 300 pounds in the NFL in the 80s. Every single offensive lineman on every single team in the NFL right now are over 300 pounds. Every single one.
Yeah.
Right?
So
this is not
now,
unheard
yes.
of. D linemen, the position that Perry played, they're not all over 300. That's still considered big, but it's not like at the time you were like, oh my God, who's this big fat guy? Now there's a million big fat guys in the NFL. There's so many, right? So anyways, yeah, I'm glad we have one the same, the Fridge.
So I didn't think we'd have any the same, and if I had to pick, I wouldn't have picked that one. So maybe we have more of the same. Next on my list is Bill Spaceman Lee. So Bill Lee, former baseball player, played for the Expos, played for the Red Sox. And the reason his nickname is Spaceman is because his often outrageous statements and bizarre actions marked him as an oddity and ensured him a lasting reputation in the button-down baseball world. Baseball used to be much more buttoned down than it is now. He never fully embraced the nickname, arguing that his first priority was always Mother Earth, which just tells you a little bit about Bill Lee. There's a 2016 movie called Spaceman about Bill Lee, about, him being cut by the Expos in 1982. It stars Josh Duhamel, so it's like a legitimate actor. And Eric Gagne is actually in the movie. I haven't seen the movie. I whatever.
So it's like a fictional account. It's like a scripted movie. It's not a documentary.
No. Apparently, it's a almost fully true story. I mean, yes, it's not a documentary, but apparently what happens in the movie happened in real life. I haven't seen the movie. Everything I've read about the movie tells me that the movie is not good. But now that I know about it, I have to find this movie and I have to watch it.
I mean, Spaceman is an interesting guy. He's been on the radio here for years because he's like a frequent guest of Mitch Melnick, who does like, he's been doing sports radio here for like 20, 30 years. So people in Montreal know about Spaceman. Like after he got cut or whatever happened to him with the Expos, and he says he was blackballed by Major League Baseball, probably true. And he just went and played in every single beer league that existed. Like he's played baseball everywhere in the world possible, right?
I think he still plays in some kind of league now. Like
I saw a thing just this week that he came and pitched at one of those Savannah Bananas games, right?
That doesn't surprise me.
So, yeah, I mean, he's an interesting character and for sure like a good addition to your list. I can back that one.
Number 2.
All right, number 2 for me, Julius Erving, Dr. J. I told you I wanted to have guys where like their name was like their nickname kind of became their name. And he's interesting too because it's also like the Fridge. He kind of has 2 nicknames. It's the Doctor, and then apparently it became Dr. J afterwards when you read the origin of the story. So, Julius Erving, obviously Hall of Famer, probably one of the greatest players ever. In my mind, like I could be completely wrong about this, but like in my mind, growing up watching basketball in the early 80s, he was like the first guy that actually would routinely dunk during games. Like people could dunk, but like it wasn't like as frequent as it is now when you watch highlights. And Julius Erving was like the first kind of high flyer. Apparently the name Doctor came from high school where a friend called him the Doctor because because Julius called that guy the Professor. So they had nicknames for each other. So he Julius called this other guy the professor. So he said, well, if I'm the professor, you're the doctor. And then the name stuck. And then eventually it became Dr. J. And this is the best part because the team doctor I don't know if it was when he was in the ABA or when he was on the Sixers, the team doctor suggested, why don't we call you Dr. J so people don't confuse you with the actual team doctor?
That makes sense, actually.
Yeah. So that's how the name Dr. J was born.
Love it. Okay, next on my list is the only active player on my list and also the only hockey player on my list. It's Artemi Panarin, also known as the Bread Man. And
it's a really good name, actually. It's actually quite good.
It is really good because the reason he's called the Bread Man is because his last name sounds a lot like Panera Bread, the restaurant chain, which I don't think you have in your province.
No, we don't. Have you ever eaten at Panera Bread?
I have, and I really enjoy it, actually.
Yeah, I've eaten there many times, like on road trips and different places where they have it, and actually, I always loved it there.
Yeah. So the way the nickname started, Panarin used to be on the Chicago Blackhawks, and he was on a line with Artem Anisimov, and so their first names are similar. Mm-hmm. So Joel Kenville had to figure out a different way to refer to Panarin, and so he just started calling him the Bread Man. And then it just spread, and the teammates liked it, and so now that's what he's called. Now, there is even a bobblehead, which is actually called a bobble bread, because the bobblehead, it's him holding a baguette.
That's so stupid.
He doesn't have a hockey stick. He's holding a baguette in this bobblehead.
Right.
So that's how much people like the nickname the Bread Man.
I like it. I always thought it's very creative.
It is. It actually is.
Yeah. Although the first time they told him this is your name now, or someone referred to him like that, he was probably very confused. Like, honestly, but
probably sure.
Number 1.
All right, number 1 for me, David Ortiz, Big Papi. If ever a nickname kind of described a player, represented like what the player's all about, it's Big Papi, right? So David Ortiz, Red Sox legend, Hall of Famer, 3-time World Series champion. His full name is David Americo Ortiz. And the origin of his name is actually really interesting. He is called Big Papi because he used to call almost every player on his team in the clubhouse Papi because he never remembered anyone's names.
That doesn't surprise me.
So he just called everybody Papi, and then Red Sox broadcaster Jerry Remy started calling him Big Papi on the air, and then the name stuck, and then obviously you know how a nickname works. Like once you start, you can't stop, and now he's Big Papi. I've seen a video clip of Dustin Pedroia being interviewed saying that they were at spring training one year, and this is like he's already played with David Ortiz for like 5-7 years, right? They won World Series together, they're friends and everything, and they're in spring training, and they're in the clubhouse and in the dugout, and someone calls Dustin Pedroia, "Hey, Dustin," whatever, like they call him by his name. And Ortiz turns around and he looks at Pedroia and he's like, "Why did that guy call you Dustin?"
I love it.
And then Pedroia looks at Ortiz. He's like, "That's my name." He's like, "Your name's Dustin?" And it's like when I read that he didn't know anyone's name and he called them all Papi, I remembered seeing this story before, and I was like, okay, this fits perfectly, So also this week, I don't know, like this last few weeks, Ortiz has been in the news a little bit. Did you see the clips of after the Jays beat the Yankees with the Yankees lose?
Yeah, I saw that. That story reminds me of another story, and I don't know all the details, and I haven't researched this, so some of this might be a little bit inaccurate, but Ricky Henderson, he eventually came to the Blue Jays, and he made a comment. This is before the first game that he played with the Jays. He made some kind of comment about, oh yeah, there's a guy in the league that wears a helmet when he plays in the field.
Yeah.
and it's John Olerud. He didn't know the guy's name. And John Olerud was now his teammate. And he said this to John Olerud.
I've seen the interview with Olerud. It's when they were both on the Mets together after they were on the Blue Jays.
Oh, okay.
And Olerud had the helmet, and Henderson asked him, "Why do you wear that helmet when you're fielding?" And he's like, "Well, it's because when I was a kid, I had a problem and an aneurysm, and then I just wear it for extra protection so I don't get hit in the head." And then Ricky Henderson's like, I once played with a guy who did the same thing, and Olerud's like, "Yeah, that was me."
There you go. Thank you for clarifying the story and for correcting it. I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, you're number one.
Number 1. Bert Be Home Bly-Levin.
That's one of those Chris Berman nicknames.
It
right?
is. And I could have picked 5 Chris Berman nicknames, but I only picked 1.
Yeah.
So this is my favorite one. It's so fitting. It's so perfect. I don't think I need to tell you. So Chris Berman created many or coined many nicknames, and this is one of them. The player's name, in case you don't know, because he's retired, it's Bert Bly-Levin. So Chris Berman just added in the middle there, Be Home Bly-Levin. So I didn't know this. Bert Bly-Levin was born in the Netherlands. Not many people born in the Netherlands play Major League Baseball. He played 22 seasons, mostly with the Minnesota Twins. And then he was a color commentator for the Twins from 1996 to 2020. Now, in 2024, Topps, the baseball card company, they made a collection of baseball cards. All of them are Chris Berman nickname baseball cards. So there is a Bert Bly-Levin.
Oh, that's great.
It says on the baseball card, Bert Be Home Bly-Levin baseball card.
Baseball Hall of Famer, and he is very high on the all-time strikeout list. I don't know what number, but he's got well over 3,000 strikeouts. So one of the more underrated pitchers in Major League Baseball history, in that most people don't even remember him, and let alone know that he's in the Hall of Fame.
There you go.
Great list, Josh. The Chris Berman stuff, those are good. I always used to love those. So you said that you had too many. I'm just going to give you my top honorable mentions. Frank Thomas, the Big Hurt. Vinnie Johnson, the microwave. The microwave because when he would come in the game, he would heat things up in a hurry. Reggie Jackson, Mr. October. Jerome Bettis, the bus. Boom Boom Jeffrion. Carl Malone, the mailman, because he always delivers. For the big unit, Randy Johnson, Charles Barkley, Sir Charles, Walter Payton, who I mentioned before, Sweetness. And then one that is actually a really good nickname is Charlie Hustle for Pete Rose. It's a pretty good one. Iron Mike Tyson. And then there's 2 that I really wanted to mention that are kind of weird. So the Canadians have a player right now, Arbor Jackeye. I couldn't even spell his name if I could. It starts with an X and there's a J in there and everything. So they asked him what his nickname is, and he said Wi-Fi because his last name is basically one of those crazy Wi-Fi passwords if you had to get something that no one could guess.
True, yes, yeah.
And then one of the most famous nicknames is a player by the name of Rod Smart, who played when they started the XFL. And if you remember they were allowed to put nicknames on the back of their jerseys in the XFL when it debuted.
I do remember that.
You remember this guy? He Hate Me.
Ah, yes. I was wondering. I didn't know who that was, but now when you tell me his nickname, I do know who it is.
Yeah. So he had on the back of his shirt, He Hate Me. And that's literally the only thing Rod Smart is famous for. So what about you?
So my honorable mentions, Super Mario Lemieux.
Great.
I've got a lot of expos here. Tim Raines, The Rock, Andre Dawson, The Hawk, Gary Carter, The Kid. Mark Edward Vlasic, they call him Pickles. That's an obvious one.
Yeah.
Alejandro Kirk, they call him Captain Kirk.
Okay.
Anyway, and then there's this other guy. So this is not a professional athlete, and I don't know if he still plays basketball. I think his name is Akil Carr. He did play basketball at one point. When he was 15-year-old, I think, or maybe younger, when he was in high school, he played basketball in Baltimore. And he was so good that everyone went to see these high school basketball games. Everyone in Baltimore went to see them. Literally, you could not get into, it's a high school. How many seats do they have? And because everyone was there, and no one else in Baltimore was doing anything else that night, they called him the Crime Stopper because the crime rate was so low during basketball games because everyone was at the game.
Very nice. Very nice. How did you even find this?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I remember reading about it at the time. This is like 10 years ago at least, maybe more. So, I mean, he's an adult now. I don't know whatever happened to him.
Very good. Nice list. I like your nicknames. Like you said, we could probably do another episode. I could come up with 5 other nicknames and they would all be great, you know? So we'll ask the listeners to send us some mail or messages, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, telling us I'd love to read some names next time in the listener mail of people's memorable athlete nicknames.
For sure. Absolutely. We'll be right back after this with some final thoughts.
You're listening to Unscripted.
Hey everyone, Skip here. I'm really excited to invite all of you to follow my new account at Skip Cooks on Instagram and TikTok. I'll be sharing my love of cooking with recipes in the form of 1-minute music videos, all set to some of my favorite songs. Don't miss out, follow me, and let's have some fun in the kitchen.
Unscripted with Skip and Josh is available wherever you listen to podcasts. If you listen to the show through Apple Podcasts, please leave a review. To interact with the show, send an email to skipandjoshshow@gmail.com. Follow the show on Twitter and go to Facebook to like the show page. And now, some final thoughts from the guys.
A couple of episodes ago, I asked you a question because I was curious if you had ever heard of something specific, something that's so big in the pop culture, but that I know that what's in like mainstream pop culture, sometimes you're not even aware of. And you did know about The Summer I Turned Pretty, so I was impressed.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you something now if you've heard of something or not. You don't have to have watched the movie. I just want to know if you've heard of it. Have you heard of K-pop Demon Hunters?
No. I've heard the word K-pop.
Yes.
So I've heard that word. And I think
Yeah.
I know what it is. But I don't know what Demon Hunters is.
So K-pop Demon Hunters is a movie on Netflix right now. I think it's the #1 movie in like 30 countries. And I actually watched it this week because I wanted to see what all the fuss is about. It's an animated movie. It's a cartoon.
I won't see it.
It's for kids. It's not for you and me. But it's like an animated movie about like a K-pop girl group that are also demon hunters. And their enemy that are the demons are the boy band K-pop group. It's the premise is actually quite funny, but the there's a soundtrack because it's full of like this K-pop music that the girl group sings, and the one song called Golden is like huge now. It's everywhere. So anyways, I'm glad we cleared that up. I wanted to know if you've heard of it, and I think I'll bring this segment back maybe another time and see if you've heard of stuff.
I'm 1 for 2 so far in this segment.
Yeah, solid. That's 500. That's good.
Okay, so next week is a busy week for both of us.
Okay. What am I doing?
When people are listening to this episode drops on Tuesday, but on Tuesday, it's also the day that the Montreal Expos documentary drops on Netflix.
Mm-hmm. Who killed the Montreal Expos?
So that's one thing that you have to put into your calendar. And the other thing that I'm sure is already in your calendar, next Friday is the day that the Bruce Springsteen movie drops in theaters.
It's a huge, huge week for me.
So like you better cancel everything else you're doing next week.
I got problems next week. There's the movie coming out. There's a Springsteen movie. There's that Expos movie coming out. There's a Springsteen movie coming out. It's my wife's birthday next week as well. And on Tuesday night, I'm going to the Leve concert here in Montreal as well. So I got a busy schedule.
Luckily for you, the documentary drops on a Tuesday. The Bruce Springsteen movie's on a Friday, and there is no NFL on Tuesdays or Fridays.
It's good.
But you will have to. It will conflict with the World Series at some point.
I asked my wife if she'll come see the Bruce Springsteen movie with me. She's like, she's not sure. So then I asked Selena, my daughter Selena, will you come with me to the movie? She's like, sure, I'll come with you.
That's great. It's great that you have kids that do stuff with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I would go with you, but I'm not going to be in Montreal, so.
No, of course. All right. Do you have any other final thoughts, or is that it?
That is it.
Okay. Awesome talking to you about the athlete nicknames. It's always fun to sort of go down memory lane. And actually, I did have it was fun to look up the origins of the nicknames because you don't know where these come from. And
For sure.
nicknames are it's a phenomenon in itself to know like where they start and how they stick. So I really appreciated that. And I did like our conversation about Shohei Ohtani. Like, let's see what else this guy's going to do in the playoffs this year. Maybe he's going to go crazy in the World Series. And the sky's the limit for Shohei Ohtani, right?
You know, it's interesting. He was having a terrible series up until yesterday.
Terrible, awful. Yeah, and there's this other theory that like he doesn't hit as well in games that he pitches, but I guess he threw that out last night. That's finished, right?
I think he read those news clippings and then had to prove people wrong.
Yeah. All right. Awesome episode. Speak to you next time.
Have a great week.